Okay, I'm trying it again. I was trying to connect for the stream and it didn't work for some reason. Okay, my son shows me that right now it works. Okay, so supposed to start at 6, now it's 6:30, but this is like, the technology, and I'm not a streamer, I'm learning, and I don't think anyone is here, because if even anyone even waited for this, it's like 6:30, 30 minutes later. But hi. Okay, hi. Oh, okay, I know who that is. That's my son. Nobody's here, right? Nobody's there. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so, well, I will anyway record it, because I will just practice and people can watch recording. And so I created this slideshow. I was working today the whole day on this, because there was a beautiful article that Russian article about the work of Saint Cyril and Methodius, and I really wanted to translate this article, and then I just decided that it will even be better to have some visuals with that article. So I was creating all of those slides, Google Slides today, the whole day. So I'm going to remove this window just because it's going to cover my slides and I want to use them. I want you to see everything we talk about. So let me see how I can do it. Delete. No, it's still here, right? What do I do? And I press here. Yes. Okay. Now I see the slides. Okay. Let me go to the first slide. So this is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the teachers of the Slavs. That's really how Saints Cyril and Methodius are called in Russia and in all Slavic countries. And they are considered to be equal to apostles because they were apostles of the Slavs. So who were they? Who were Cyril and Methodius? We're going to talk about them today, and in this lesson you will learn who Saints Cyril and Methodius were, what the first Slavic alphabet was, what the first printed Russian book was. So this is what we're going to talk about today. We go to the next slide and we're going to talk about the lesson goals. Today you will learn, that's what I told you, who Cyril and Methodius were, what the first Slavic alphabet was, how book printing began in Rus. Rus is the ancient Russia with different countries that were included. So we have the name Rus for that. It's not only Russia. It was not only Russia. It was Russia plus a few other countries that are not included into Russia right now. And so you see the image of the Church Slavonic alphabet here. Let's go to the next slide. And we just talked about that. Who were Cyril and Methodius? Think for a moment. Have you heard the names Cyril and Methodius before? And I think you have. How long ago do you think these people lived? The events connected with the names of Cyril and Methodius took place many centuries ago, at a time when very few people knew how to read or write. So Slavs considered to be even not vocal at that time. So the Slavs lived in tribes, and many of the Slavic tribes were not even vocal. Near the Aegean Sea, or how we say it in English? Egeiskaya more, Egeiskaya Sea, Aegean Sea, stood a beautiful city called Thessaloniki, also known as Saloon. In this city, two brothers grew up in the family of a warrior, a military. He served in a military, and he was like one of those generals in the military, whose name was Leo. So he was the father of Cyril and Methodius, whose names back then were Michael and Constantine, because only later, when they became monks, they took the names Cyril and Methodius. But when they were born, their parents named them Michael and Constantine. Michael was the elder brother. So Michael, we talk about Methodius now. Like, Methodius was the elder brother. He inherited physical strength from his father and chose a military career when he became an adult. Constantine is the future Cyril. Constantine was the younger brother. He was not strong physically, but he was very intelligent and well educated. Despite their different interests, the brothers were very close. We go to the next slide. Michael quickly achieved success in public service and became the governor of the Byzantine provinces, where peace and order reigned. Later, he decided to leave state service and went to a monastery on Mount Lesser Olympus. There he became a monk and took the name Methodius. At the same time, Constantine was studying in Constantinople. He successfully mastered many sciences and languages, and later became a teacher of philosophy. Because of this, he received the nickname Constantine the Philosopher. So he was very, very famous, well known, and everyone called him Constantine the Philosopher. Many years later, Constantine traveled to see his brother Methodius at the monastery on Mount Lesser Olympus. There, the brothers studied sacred texts together. And why do you think we still remember these brothers many centuries later? We'll still stay with this slide for now. Let me see. The fame of the brothers' learning spread for far beyond their homeland. Many people admired the talents of Constantine and Michael. News of them reached Prince Rostislav of Moravia, who in the year 862 asked the Byzantine emperor to send teachers to his people. Okay, so here we go. The prince said, "Our people have rejected paganism and accepted the Christian law, but we do not have a teacher who can explain the Christian faith to us in our own language. Send us a bishop and a teacher." The emperor believed that no one could fulfill this task better than Constantine the philosopher and Methodius. He knew that the brothers spoke the Slavic language well and could teach other Slavs the word of God. The brothers began the difficult work of creating a Slavic alphabet so that they could translate sacred texts from Greek and pass this knowledge on to future generations. This task was not easy because they had to invent special symbols, letters for the new alphabet. So, as I said, as we know, a lot of Slavic tribes were not even vocal, but the whole Slavic people, they didn't have written language. They didn't even have alphabet. And it was a big challenge because when they took Christianity, they needed the texts, they needed the scriptures, but the text couldn't be even translated from Greek to a language because there was no language. And so it wasn't even that they needed scholars to translate the scripts, but they needed scholars to create a language and then to translate the scripts. So the writing system created by Constantine, Methodius, and their students was called Glagolitic. Here it is. This is actually the slide, the Glagolitic slide I have here. Oh no, you know what I did? I just used two slides. I have to edit the slides because here is supposed to be the image of Glagolitic and I didn't. Okay, yeah. It's supposed to be a different image here, an image of the Glagolitic, because here we see Cyrillic alphabet. And Glagolitic was the alphabet before Cyrillic. So in the life of Cyril, it is written, with the help of his brother, Saint Methodius, and their students, Gozard, Clement, Sava, Naum, and Angelar, he composed the Slavic alphabet and translated into the Slavic language the books without which divine worship could not be performed. Glagolitic was the first Slavic alphabet created by the teachers Cyril, back then Constantine, and Methodius, back then Michael, to translate holy texts from Greek and to read them in worship. But Constantine's fragile health didn't allow him to continue his mission for long. He became a monk under the name of Cyril and soon passed away. Yes, here. Methodius and his students continued Cyril's work. They amplified the shapes of the Glagolitic letters, making them clearer and easier to use. This new alphabet was named Cyrillic in honor of the great teacher Cyril. Cyrillic is an alphabet created by the students of Cyril on the basis of the Glagolitic script. So now let's just summarize. So here we see the Cyrillic alphabet. Here it's supposed to be an image of Glagolitic alphabet, which I just messed up the images. Okay, so Cyrillic alphabet. So what happened is when Saint Cyril worked in Rus, creating the language and the alphabet, he created the first original alphabet, which is now by scientists called Old Church Slavonic. Old Church Slavonic. And the alphabet is called Glagolitic. That was the creation of Saint Cyril. Then he passed away, and Saint Methodius lived a little bit longer and continued working, and he had some very talented disciples. I will dedicate a lesson on one of the very talented disciple, Russian, who learned everything, and he continued the work after the death of Saint Cyril and after death of Saint Methodius, and contributed really a lot. So after Saint Cyril passed away, they adapted his alphabet, and then this alphabet was called Cyrillic after Saint Cyril. So the first version that was done while Saint Cyril was alive is now called Glagolitic, and the adapted version after he passed away is called Cyrillic after him. Let me see here. Yeah. After the baptism of Rus in 988, Russian church books written in Cyrillic began to appear. Many Slavic alphabets, including Russian, were later created on the basis of Cyrillic. That is why Slavic peoples still remember and honor Saints Cyril and Methodius today. Their feast day is May 24, celebrated as the Day of Slavic Writing and Culture. And it's also name's day for Saint Cyril. It's the name's day for Saint Methodius. So the men in Russia who are named after them, especially Kirill. Cyril, it's an English version, but in Russia we say Kirill, and because it's a Greek name, because they were Greek, Cyril and Methodius. So in Greek, it's also Kirill, and Russian and Church Slavonic alphabet in Russian language is called Kyrillic or Kirillitsa, Kirill. So it's Cyrillic or Cyril, it's in English, and Kirill and Kyrillic is in Russian. So May 24th is when we celebrate Day of Slavic Writing and Culture in Russia. It's a big feast day, and it's Names Day also. So now we're going to talk about the first printed Russian book. What do you know about book printing? Do you know where the printing press was invented? The appearance of writing became the starting point of the creation of books. For many centuries after the time of Cyril and Methodius, books were copied by hand. Writing a single book took a very long time and required great effort. Because of this, books were rare and very expensive, and only wealthy people could own them. Let me see the next slide. In the mid-15th century, Johannes Gutenberg invented the printing press in Germany. This invention made book production faster and cheaper. In Rus, book printing began after 1553. When Tsar Ivan the Terrible ordered the construction of the Moscow print yard, the first Russian printing house. The work was led by Ivan Fedorov, an intelligent and enterprising man. So how here we know Gutenberg is very popular, right? Gutenberg printing press. Everybody knows that. So the same name we know, a well-known name in Russia is Ivan Fedorov, because he also opened the first printing press in Moscow, and it's called Moscow Print Yard. Now here we go. The Apostle was the first book printed in Rus by the first printer Ivan Fedorov. It is a liturgical text containing two parts of the New Testament, the Acts and the Epistles of the Holy Apostles. So this is the illustration from that first book. So 1564, first printed book in Russia, the Apostle. The work on the Apostle took almost a year. It was necessary to choose a readable typeface, high quality paper, and create illustrations. By 1564, the work was completed. The book contained 534 pages and had a very large print run for its time, about 2,000 copies. And here we just summarize everything and answer ourselves answer the question why this story matters. Why does it matter for us? It matters for us because writing preserves language, because we learn from this story that writing preserves language, books preserve knowledge. We learned about Cyril and Methodius, who gave Slavs letters and writing language. They opened the way to education and connected faith, culture, and learning. And let me see. Yes, I created a few questions for you, so you can check yourself. And I'm gonna ask a question and give you some time, and let's see how good you learned today. So the first question: Cyril and Methodius. No, the first question will be this: What contribution did Cyril and Methodius make to the development of Slavic writing? Why was writing necessary for the Slavs? What contribution did Cyril and Methodius make to the development of Slavic writing? Why was writing necessary for the Slavs? Okay, I'm gonna answer for you. Cyril and Methodius were important to Slavic culture as the creators of Slavic writing. Writing was necessary in order to translate sacred books from Greek after the acceptance of Christianity in Rus and after baptism of Rus. So that was their contribution. Second question: What was the name of the first Slavic alphabet? What was the name of the first Slavic alphabet? The first Slavic alphabet was called Glagolitic. In Russian we say Glagolitsa. Glagolitsa. So we say Glagolitsa, and then for Cyrillic we say Kirillitsa. Kirillitsa. So the first one, the one that was created by Saint Cyril, was Glagolitsa. And then, after he passed away, there was a little adaptation by his disciples, and it was called Kirillitsa, Cyrillic. Third question: Book printing became necessary because hard-written books took a very long time to produce, while they need... Oh no! Oh my gosh! I'm reading answer. Why did the need for book printing arise? That's a short question. I'm sorry, it's the end of the day. I'm probably tired. I don't know. Yeah, the question is, why did the need for book printing arise? Why? Why was it? Why the need arise? And the answer is the book printing became necessary because handwritten books took a very long time to produce, while the need for books continued to grow. It's of course, right? It's like obviously, because Rus was very uneducated. They just got baptized. They didn't have written language, no grammar, no books, nothing. So, and book printing became very necessary because you need to educate the whole nation, and you need, after the nation got baptized, you need to educate them in their religion. And the last question, what was the name of the first book printed in Rus? Easy one, right? The Apostle. The first printed book in Rus. We're not talking about handwritten, we're talking about the first printed. Okay, so I'm sorry for any mistakes if I did a few, or for the delay, but you know, I wouldn't become better in this if I don't practice, and it comes through errors. So I have to do those mistakes. Like I had some technical issues while trying to connect, and yesterday I had a stream and I had some technical issues. But if you skip like how many, I think 17 minutes from yesterday's stream, then you get a good stream on the alphabet. And today it was the history of the alphabet. And great to see you guys. Thank you for watching, and let's just keep doing. Let's just make it better, and have a great night. Bye bye.